Hello and welcome. In this video, I wanted to share with you my second Skillshare class, which I published just a couple of hours ago. This class is about experimenting with your acrylic paints. Some people have asked me how I create the backgrounds for my doodle art. You might notice that some of my backgrounds are really colorful. So I created a class around that, sort of an experiment with your paints and with various brush strokes and assessing what you can do with these backgrounds. So in this video, I'm including the welcome video for the class, and I'm also including one lesson from the class which you wouldn't otherwise be able to watch unless you were enrolled. If you are interested in enrolling, there are two options essentially. One is 99 cents and it gives you premium membership for Skillshare for 3 months, so you can watch all the Skillshare classes for 3 months. And the other option is free for the first 20 people who use the link, which doesn't give you access to any classes other than this class. So without further ado, here are the videos from the class. Thank you for watching. Hi, I'm Karen, and in this class, we're going to free ourselves from the white page using acrylic paint. We'll make these super easy, super fast, one-of-a-kind, colorful textures and backgrounds. It's going to be really easy and a lot of fun. We'll start off with some basic dry brush textures in one color, and move on to using more colors and trying out all sorts of brush strokes to get a larger variety of textures and backgrounds. We'll look through the results of our experiment and assess which ones we especially liked and how we might apply them to a future creative project. This class also includes a bonus lesson for getting a softer look with acrylics by creating an ombre effect and by experimenting with diluted acrylic paint to create a wash. The pages we'll make can be used as a background for doodling, illustration, mixed media art, hand lettering, calligraphy, collage, greeting cards, wrapping paper, and so much more. You can scan them and use them as textures in digital art or as a wallpaper for your desktop or smartphone. They could also be an abstract and colorful painting all on their own. I found that I draw differently over different backgrounds. Somehow, the colors and textures evoke different thoughts and take my art to new places. I hope this experiment helps you get creative and grow your confidence with your art making and have fun with it. Experimenting helps you discover new things, but more importantly, it frees you up from fear of creating and fear of messing up. Allow yourself to experiment, and it'll be easier for creativity to flow and easier to get unstuck. Even if you've never picked up a paintbrush, you'll be able to make these backgrounds literally in minutes. So this class is suitable for absolute beginners as well as for artists and crafters of all levels. Acrylic paint is easy to use, easy to clean, and it comes in many vibrant colors, including neon and metallic colors. It's inexpensive, versatile, and it dries fast. So are you ready to join me in this creative experiment? Click and roll, and let's get started. In this lesson, we're going to make some dry brush textures using one color. I'm mixing a light shade of turquoise in order not to get a strong contrast with the white of the paper, but you can experiment with darker colors as well. In order to get a dry brush effect, I put a little bit of paint on the brush and wipe off the excess on the palette and on scrap paper. The dry brush leaves a textured pattern and directional markings, depending on the direction of the brush strokes. Here I'm using more paint to get a uniform background. The bristles of this brush aren't very soft, so they leave marks in the surface. If you prefer a smoother background than this, add another coat or two after this coat dries, or try using a brush with softer bristles. Here I make something in between the last two experiments, a little bit of solid color and a little bit of dry brush. With some practice, you'll get a feeling of how much paint is on your brush, more or less. I don't have full control, but that's okay. We're experimenting, and happy accidents are our friend. This one is a lot of fun. I swirl the brush on the paper to get a circular texture. You can try this with larger or smaller motions, or with a smaller brush to get different variations of this texture. Here I tried to make a starburst pattern by painting across the center of the page in all directions. In this one, I applied the brush to the paper in a crisscross motion, sort of like a basket weave pattern. I really like this one and it would be interesting to experiment with it further. In this last one, I'm not sure what I was going for. I made some blotchy marks and ended up defining them a bit more towards the end. When I experiment, I oftentimes wander without knowing where I'm going or what I'll find. I like when that happens. Give yourself permission to experiment and flow. Don't worry about the results. You might like some more than others, and that's okay. It's all part of the experiment. Here are the textures I got. Now it's your turn. Experiment with different brush strokes and different amounts of paint on your brush to see which textures you can make. What did you come up with? I'd love to see it. Take a photo of your experiments and upload them to your project down below. In the next lesson, we'll experiment some more with dry brush painting using more than one color.